16 is one of the most jarring, unexpected, and almost grotesque at points cartoon I've ever seen. I don't know if it's aimed at kids or adults. No, it's aimed at teens, because everything they deal with, like the nudity, the gender tension, or even the complicated relationships that secretly build up over time, this show is just so impressive the way it kind of unfolds in front of you. And going through the first 13 episodes, I never realized how much of a gem this show really was, and hearing everybody's stories and relationship to the show made it even more exciting to jump in. So I'm excited to say that I just finished the 13 episodes of Season 1 Part 2, and I can't wait to get through the rest of the series. Let's see how far Caitlin, Jen, Wyatt, Jonesy, Jude, and Nikki are going to be pushed in this second half of the first season, and then get excited for new characters, crazy situations. We just have so much fun at this mall, and I'm excited to jump back in. What's up, everybody? It's Johnny Tunes, a spin-off of Johnny 2000, where we cover 2000's nostalgia from cartoons, just as much as we do with the teen sitcom channel from before. And let's jump into the final 13 episodes now.
Yeah, I should get back to work too. I have to dust all the lemons.
You dust the lemons?
Business has been slow.
So the first episode we're going to cover is Clonesy. It's the 14th episode of Season 1. There's about 27 episodes total, and this one actually marks a huge turning point for the rest of the series that I actually forgot about until this episode came back up, and that's Jonesy and Nikki's relationship. We actually talked about it a little bit in the last episode, or 2 episodes ago, in The Fake Date, where Nikki and Jonesy actually got locked in an elevator together. At first, it was just this like really random B-plot where the two could not get along super well. You know, Nikki was pretty much taking care of Jonesy because he's like this big immature guy. At the end of it, there's like a little bit of a moment between the two that they don't really acknowledge. They just kind of like accept and then move on. This episode expands on that and actually goes way further. So the A-plot is about Jonesy getting a job at the Khaki Barn, yeah, where Nikki and all the clones work.
Sorry, Nikki. We forgot about you.
They're really good at making this connection subtle, like with just Jonesy hitting on her slightly, but there's like a little bit of meaning behind it, so you could tell they're actually planning for them to be together. Jonesy doesn't want to take anybody else's job, so he just wants to work with Nikki, and he actually confides within Jude that he has a crush on her. Oh my gosh. Caitlin overhears this from the lemon stand, and this is when the friends get involved. I love those plots in the 2000s where like the friends just feel the need to meddle in another friend's relationship, whether they approve or disapprove. Jude seems like pretty neutral either way.
What are you doing?
When a dude's really into a chick, they give off these vibes that you can, like, smell. I think they're called pheromone.
That's the freakiest thing I've ever heard, dude.
But it's sweet. It's sweet to see them actually want to be together. Caitlin warns Wyatt and Jen, who have the B-plot of trying to keep them apart, despite the fact they're working together. And it's really challenging because they have so much alone time together now that they're both working at the Khaki Barn. Nikki even gets jealous when he spends too much time with the blonde clones, and he actually seems affected by this, meaning he actually does really care. And so you're kind of stressed out about the whole situation.
So, if you could only have 3 things on a deserted island, what would they be?
Ugh, I can give you 3 things I'd banish to a deserted island.
In the B-plot, Jude is trying to do a bunch of stunts and record himself, and it's kind of funny. It feels like MTV style. He's just got so much mellow, you love it.
Uh-oh.
His thing doesn't really go anywhere. He ends up getting hurt, and Jen gives him this like massage oil that will help him like become numb, and he ends up taking way too much, losing control of all of his limbs. And this feels like an episode of Victorious, the way this plot lands.
I'll call Jude.
Hold on, dude! Keep ringing!
And yeah, so Nikki and Jonesy are naturally getting closer together, even like arguing when they go on lunch, both saying that they should date each other. And oh my gosh, it's actually kind of a very tense moment where Jen, Wyatt, and Caitlin can't even control it. They just are trying to get in between it.
Great seats, guys. Popcorn, Caitlin?
Oh yeah, hand it over.
I only have eyes for you.
Pop?
Thanks. So thirsty. Pop?
So they test out their relationship by going to the park, ignoring work, and honestly, it's really sweet the way they spend time together. So their friends fully interrupt the date and sit next to them as if nothing's wrong, and the fact that they're trying to pretend to be friends, like, of course they're not gonna say anything, but there's a lot of stress going on with both of them. And I feel like I'd be really stressed if my friends tried to insert themselves like this. Like, it feels like even if they're meant to be together, they couldn't because of this attitude. Meanwhile, Jude is on the skateboard. He can't even walk because of all this cream. And how does something affect you that much? It's insane. Jude ends up being the reason that they don't even get a kiss in, so it's almost like the characters fully pulled this off, which I don't know how to feel, as if this is like a positive thing. It just seems like inappropriate the way they're messing with them. Like, if you really had an issue with like me going out with somebody or somebody going out with me, I would love it if my friends went to me directly as opposed to just like interfered. It's so funny that Jude himself is the reason that they end up coming together by the end of the episode, and yet the friends are convinced it's actually put them apart. Yeah, this is going to be the beginning of something that's actually going to keep going on multiple episodes, and I like that they're not afraid to do something like that. It could be risky, especially if you don't like the characters together, but this early in season 1, I don't know, I feel like they're not risking that much. All I know is I'd be very frustrated with Caitlin and Jen, and hopefully they have a conversation about this in the future. So yeah, that was the episode Clonesy, which doesn't really feel like it has to do with a clone. I guess maybe like the two sides of their relationship. It more so has to do with the meddling of the friends, but okay, we'll keep going, especially since this next episode is a Valentine's Day episode. Oh yeah. Something I didn't even realize till now is like, this is not actually showing Jonesy get fired. Like, he starts working at the Khaki Barn and he doesn't work there again after this episode, but it is just funny that they chose not to acknowledge that to the end of the episode. It just goes to show there's so much more important things happening.
So, you gonna ask anyone out tonight?
Yep. Nikki.
All right, carpe diem, dude.
What?
Carpe diem. It's Latin for seize the fish.
Right.
The next episode, Stupid Over Cupid, is 15th episode of season 1, and it is the Valentine's Day one, with Jude and Jonesy confiding in one another on what they're gonna do for Valentine's Day. Jonesy says he's gonna ask out Nikki, and it's actually really sweet, especially since these two share that secret. Like, only Jude really knows this, or at least that's all Jonesy knows. And yeah, so he's excited about spending Valentine's Day together. Later, we learn that Nikki actually has an issue with Valentine's Day and likes to protest it. Therefore, she will not be going out with anybody. So Jonesy asks her out, and it kind of feels like a rejection. Honestly, like, Nikki, I would give it up just for the day. Like, you had a little romantic relationship, but yeah, no, she's just not taking it. And Jonesy is not really taking the hint at first. He's like, oh, I guess this is rejection. What he's not used to. Ooh. Meanwhile, Wyatt is actually trying to ask out Serena. Okay.
Should I get chocolates too, or is that overkill?
Why don't you hire a plane to write her a message in the sky?
Yeah! How about I'm a total wuss?
Sorry.
In the B-plot, we actually have Wyatt going on his first official date with Serena, which is super exciting because they've only like been mildly flirting. It's just shown him to be shy and not comfortable around the ladies yet, but it's cool that he's actually trying to put all his efforts toward this date. Like, it's Valentine's Day, so he's super hyped. Jonesy kind of knocks him down for it, is like, she's not gonna like that, which, okay, fair. I guess save the romance for when you're actually in a relationship. He overhears Serena making fun of like romance and like maybe everything he's planning on doing is actually a little too cheesy, so he tries to dial back the whole situation, which, as you can imagine, will bite him in the butt.
Just looking at that hair, that smile, it just does something to me, you know? Weird kids.
Meanwhile, Jonesy opens a whole booth to get a Valentine's date to replace Nikki, and honestly, this puts a relationship as a really toxic start. Like, why would you do that so quickly? But yeah, he just wants to prove a point and like get her jealous, which is so funny because, you know, they're not together, so clearly he's just trying to get a reaction out of her. Caitlin and Jen act like they don't want to spend Valentine's Day doing anything, but then when they try to hit on the Abercrombie and Finch people, the boys just kind of laugh at them and kind of make them embarrassed, which bothers me a lot. Like, why would you guys be such jerks just because you're models?
Do you and your friend have plans for tomorrow night?
Not for you. It's an image thing, you understand.
you jerk!
So Caitlin and Jen kind of bother Wyatt for believing what Serena says and is like, you have to be able to go through with this. And he's just not getting all the hints, which is so funny. Meanwhile, people start bargaining for Jonesy, and it's a lot of really awkward people that he doesn't actually want to go on a date with, like Julie and the cowboy, and like these are people he does not like. So he kind of screws himself over, especially as people start placing a bid to get revenge on Jonesy.
Well, what you doing there, Mac?
Placing the bid. I'll see you later.
No! That doesn't count!
This one girl ends up actually winning the date, and it turns out that she's just trying to get revenge on him. Oh my gosh, you get really scared here because she acts like a lunatic, and you know, it's fair because Jonesy kind of treated her like trash, didn't even remember her name nor her face, so maybe she deserves this. And yeah, so Jonesy has to go back to the booth and expects another date, only for Nikki to kind of laugh at him and be like, yeah, see, this is what happens when you take this too seriously, and actually gets him out of all the dates with the girls he doesn't want to go with. And yeah, that's kind of a sweet moment that she saves him, and it just feels like Jonesy always needs somebody else to solve his problems for him, which kind of bothers me, but hey, at least like this is like something growing. So Wyatt ends up canceling all of his date plans and everything just to kind of not look like an idiot, and the only thing he has prepped for Valentine's Day for Serena is this little mixtape, which he actually really appreciates, and it seems like the two actually really do like each other, and it's very sweet because you know Wyatt, and like this will mean a lot to him if they can get it to happen, so this will be awesome. Meanwhile, Jen, Caitlin, and Nikki hang out with the poster boy for Dog Toy. Not like the person, but like the cardboard cutout, literally. And it's so funny to see them like try to have a good time with him.
Nikki, did we score the best date for Valentine's or what?
You do realize he's cardboard, right?
So, he's cute, available, and he won't say anything stupid.
Point taken.
Meanwhile, Jude is not helpful in getting Jonesy out of these situations. Like, of course, Nikki has to be the only one to help at the end of the day. Later, they want to get a Valentine's Day picture to celebrate, so they have Jonesy put on the dog toy mask. And yeah, everybody gets to celebrate a little bit of Valentine's Day except for Jonesy, but I guess this is kind of their way of working in the karma so they can actually show that Nikki and him belong together. Because, you know, like, he's kind of a playboy. Like, we need to show him undo his toxic traits before they put them together as characters. And it's so cool that we actually get to have this happen.
This individual has a mask on, without carrying a costume permit.
We're just humiliating Jonesy, see?
Please help me.
Carry on.
I'm having a lovely time too. Can I kiss you?
Dude, you've got to get a date.
Episode 16 is called The Khaki Girl, and this one is interesting because it actually brings back a character from the first episode, the pilot. It's Caitlin's old best friend before she got acquainted with these 5 other characters. So there's a lot of external threats for Caitlin in this episode, especially when we see that the khaki barn owner, this guy, who is super flamboyant and fun, only because we've never seen him before, like, this guy's just so random. He announces that they're going to look for a khaki girl, somebody to model the outfits.
Love the hair, love the clothes, love you! You're signing up.
Me? For what?
For Khaki Girl, silly. Cool pierced girl, give her the deets. I'm out of here.
Ugh.
So Jen and Nikki back up Caitlin, as good girlfriends will do, and actually support her in trying out for this position, except for Caitlin's old friend is also trying out for it. Oh my gosh.
You can't sign up. I'm the new khaki girl.
Not anymore.
You're just entering because I'm into it.
Well, that's not a very nice thing to say. It's true, but it's not very nice.
The B-plot is kind of funny because it's about Jude and this girl that we met throughout the first 13 episodes when he fell in love with that massage chair. Yeah, that part. So this girl's name is Star, and she's kind of like the perfect match for Jude just because she's kind of airheady, and so is he, honestly. But we find out that Jude has never kissed a girl. Of course, Jonesy is the first one to insert himself and want to teach him, which is so funny because the awkwardness of all this really makes it, like, comedically sound. Like, look at Jonesy kissing his hands. Like, how in the world are they gonna teach that? Not surprised he hasn't had his first kiss, though, considering his first crush was on a massage chair. Like, Jude, this is making a lot of sense for your character. This whole episode is just hilarious with Jonesy and Jude. Like, I can't find a single cartoon subplot that was even more shocking than 2 dudes kissing. Like, it's just so funny.
And that's when you go in for the kill.
Dude, what are you kissing me for?
I thought I was reading the signs, man.
So when it comes down to Caitlin and her ex-best friend, they're like, okay, let's decide this based on a shop-off. So 1 hour before the mall closes, they both have to shop till they drop. I don't know what a shop-off is supposed to consist of. All I know is it's kind of a fun idea, especially since they're, like, notably spending all their time at the mall anyway. Like, it's not surprising. Yeah, if Caitlin wins, this girl has to wear her lemon hat, and if this girl wins, she has to make her a bunch of drinks for the rest of the year, which I don't know if her manager's gonna agree to that clause, but I guess it doesn't matter. The clones from Nikki's job from the Khaki Barn end up being on Trisha's side, which is the name of the popular girl, and they're all, like, vouching for the other party, which makes a lot of sense. And of course, Trish is willing to play dirty, as any antagonist would be, and when they have the whole Khaki Barn tryouts, Caitlin is sabotaged when she pours water on the ground, which is not a fair way to play. She ends up crying, and you feel bad, but at least Nikki and Jen got her back. That's very sweet of them. Jude asks if these DVDs he pulls up from Jonesy are dirty, which is crazy that that's in a cartoon. I just have to make note of that.
I think I've found my calling. Those are for you, buddy.
Are they dirty?
It's so interesting the way they, like, have this whole competition based on metrics that I don't even know exist, like getting all the shopping right. Everybody ends up having a horrible stomach ache, and even though Caitlin loses, Trisha embarrasses herself as the Khaki Girl by throwing up on everybody. Ew!
My shirt! It's ruined! But I love the color.
Next thing you know, everybody's in line. Turns out they all have this disgusting stomach bug, which is ridiculous. Ugh. All because of Jude and his job. Like, of course this had to happen.
Now, what was I doing? Oh well.
So Caitlin ends up being the only one not super sick and ends up taking the title of Khaki Girl overall. So it's kind of a positive vibe. Aside from all the disgusting throw up throughout the episode, it's very frustrating to look at. I can't believe they even put this on a screen. And Jude throwing up on Star right before he's about to have his first kiss is obviously like the most embarrassing thing ever, but such a teenage experience. So I like how realistic this episode tends to get.
Come back! I've never barfed on a girl before! Give me another chance!
Of course, all it did was make me hate Trisha a little bit more and like Nikki and Jen for supporting Caitlin, even though they have stomach aches, Jonesy, Wyatt, like everybody ends up being disgusting by the end of this episode, and I can't believe how this panned out. I was not expecting to have to look away when everybody was puking. But yeah, at least it all works out in the end. Caitlin becomes the Khaki Girl, and yeah, none of the stakes that were mentioned in the bet happen to come about, so I guess we're all good.
Every time that Serena chick shows up, you do something stupid.
I do not.
I found it.
Like that?
The next episode we have is The Almost Graduate, and this is kind of a Wyatt episode, also a little bit of a Jonesy and Caitlin episode, and a Nikki and Jen episode. You know, the point is, these 6 characters are active throughout this whole show in a way that's really impressive writing-wise. We start out with Wyatt being super insecure about his relationship, or supposedly wanting to have a relationship with Serena, which we've seen multiple times throughout this show. He is just head over heels for her, but you know what? This episode really tests his limits because he just wants to ask her out, which hasn't been like a thing on the table quite yet. He's went on a date with her, they celebrated Valentine's Day together, but nothing like that extreme. We learn that he's actually a year younger than her, which he's insecure about, but we don't really think affects the relationship quite yet. Caitlin is interested in working at Abercrombie and Fitch, which I can't get the name right. Like, please correct me in the comments if this is continuing to be wrong. Jonesy is just as interested in applying for this job as well, so both of them decide to go to the interviews, which I didn't know if he was allowed to be invited, but okay, whatever. Caitlin's like, you're not cut out to work there, which is so funny because, like, out of all the things she could say to Jonesy, that is so disrespectful, especially since he has confidence issues.
I don't get what the big deal is. I mean, it's just a store.
He suffered a concussion recently, skiing in Whistler.
That makes sense.
Okay, that was creepy.
Ah!
now!
Meanwhile, Jonesy actually tries to convince Wyatt to ask out Serena, and you know what? It works. He does it, and she rejects him. Was not expecting that. I thought she liked him too, and the rejection was soft, but very stressful. You know, it's because of the age thing, so he's right to be insecure. I would be too. Jonesy ends up talking to Serena and convincing her to actually go out with him, which I did not expect to happen. But yeah, so he ends up going on a date with her, and they're like, okay, let's figure this out, and I'm a little nervous for both of them. Meanwhile, Jonesy and Caitlin are at the Abercrombie and Fitch audition or interview. It seems more like an audition because they actually put them on stage and see what their attitude would be like in store. And of course, Caitlin is too sweet and Jonesy is too disrespectful for her to like be joining the team.
I could go to the back and check, but I won't.
So, how about you? Just got fired. Didn't have anything better to do.
So of course they hire him, the worst candidate you could possibly hire for a job. Jonesy will never go an episode without getting fired.
Jonesy.
What?
Who, me? Why?
Well, you have that detached, self-involved egotism that Albatross and Finch stands for.
Thanks, I guess.
Meanwhile, Jen and Nikki are pulling pranks around Jen's job, which is pretty abnormal for her. I don't know why the irresponsibility is out of nowhere for them, but at least it's funny to watch them, like, get along.
Well, you've got 5 seconds left on the clock to make that call. Step up to the plate, mister. Throw the pass. Take it.
So Caitlin gets brought into Wyatt's plot when everybody's like, we need to get Wyatt to seem more mature. So they go to Caitlin of all people, which I don't know if that's a great idea. But yeah, the whole lemon shut down. She's like in tears. And I can't believe nobody else works at this lemon shop to a point where she could choose to shut down the entire thing just for fun. I can't believe that. So Caitlin and Wyatt go seeking throughout the mall on how to act around people. And of course, Jude is in there for a brief second.
Being mature is expensive then.
Do you want Serena to go for you or not?
Okay.
Where did they go?
I don't know.
You're freaking us out.
Sorry.
So of course we learn that none of Caitlin's advice was super helpful when Wyatt gets on this date. He starts acting disrespectful, not super present in the moment, which is kind of like acting like a guy older than yourself, but not necessarily more mature. He's just kind of being a jerk. And everybody knows when a character acts inauthentic, it does not work out in the long run.
Is something wrong, Wyatt?
No. Why?
You haven't said a word since we met at the record store.
I'm comfortable with silence.
Okay, then.
He tries to call Jonesy, who is now modeling at Abercrombie and Fitch, and his advice is not helpful either, of course. Later, Jonesy starts to see the way people treat Caitlin at Abercrombie and Fitch, and it honestly is kind of disrespectful, so he ends up pranking everybody in the store and even ruining his chances at the job and staying there by pulling off his pants. Oh my god, this is actually a legal issue, Jonesy. You cannot be doing this in public, okay?
Dude, you are so fired.
Yeah, so this took a crazy turn, but at least it was out of respect for his friend. Aw, so they end up getting closer together, which I was not expecting. Jonesy and Caitlin are such a weird pair. And yeah, Wyatt and Serena decide to actually fully go on a date, and that's cool. At least they're together. I don't know if all their problems are solved because she's still older than him, but you know, we'll see that for the future. All around, another fun episode that we have some like pairings that I didn't expect to have not seen before. The show is really good at divvying up the plot lines and giving everybody a chance to have an issue or relationship with one another. Having Wyatt be the center of attention, Jonesy also, and like, I don't know, I'm really impressed by this show.
Looks like I have to keep my eye on you, huh?
Yes, you do.
So, okay, what do you usually do with babysitters?
Make them cry.
So the next episode, we have a Jonesy and Jen episode. It's season 1, episode 18, Bring It On, which kind of sounds like a parody of those old movies from the 2000s about all the dancers. Bring It On. Yeah, that's a series we'll talk about later. These guys' dynamic is pretty interesting because their parents are like getting together off the scenes, so their relationship kind of has a lot of tension every now and then, not because it's romantic, but because of the fact that they just don't like to get along. Jonesy is just fooling around at Jen's workplace with all the sports equipment, and yeah, he's causing a ruckus.
Excuse me? Just a second, dude. Going for 100 in a row.
Cool. What are you shooting now?
3. Oh.
Something something I wasn't expecting is that Coach Halder actually hires him to work there with him and Jen. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so now Jonesy's working with her, and Jonesy is just put in everybody else's plot lines. It's so funny how impressive they make it work. Of course, this becomes a giant issue for both of them because working in the same place is not going to be helpful, especially since Coach Halder kind of prefers Jonesy over her. It's clear because he's like pretty sporty off the bat, leading to Jen even getting in trouble. Oh my gosh, so this makes the work environment a lot harder for her. But honestly, it is funny to see him with her job. Then we got the B plot, which is actually about Wyatt and Serena. You know, after the last episode, they're officially dating, it's a big deal, and he learns in this episode that she was dating Chad, their other co-worker. Oh my gosh, what real world drama. She's like wearing this bandana, and he's insecure because it belonged to him, and she's like, you knew we used to date, which, how in the world would you assume that he knew that? That is such personal information that Wyatt had no business knowing anyway, which shows that he's respectful. I'm not gonna get into the rant. Point is, he's upset and tries to act like he's not upset. Oh, of course, very 16 of them. So Jude's plot is essentially being a babysitter for this really spoiled kid that we see a lot of the time in this show. I feel like they reuse a lot of the background characters and just like all the characters that aren't the main cast over and over again. You'll start to notice it more and more as the series progresses. And yeah, so this little kid is following Jude around anywhere. Jonesy ends up turning his whole work situation with Jen into a gender wars with all the boys going against all the guys, which is, of course, they have to make it that dramatic.
First one to blink loses. And go! Aha! Nice!
At first, they do a lemon juice contest where they're seeing who could handle the most sour thing, which doesn't have to do with gender at all. Oh, okay. And yeah, they lose. Despite the fact they lost multiple times, apparently Jonesy just keeps wanting to make the competition keep going, which is definitely a sore loser type attitude. So they have Jen and Jude have as many stickets as possible, jump on the roller coaster, and the person who doesn't throw up wins. And of course, the guys win, which is just not fair because Jonesy had this like winner-take-all mentality. So despite the fact the girls won 3 times, they won once and that was enough. Okay, whatever. Next thing you know, the moms at the mall start to harass Jude to start babysitting all of their kids, and they're willing to pay him a lot, so he does not reject it. It's so funny because he's clearly not good with them. Like, they're damaging everything around them. And of course, Jude, the chill guy, just takes it.
Little dudes, listen up. Field trip.
And this flows down to being Wyatt and Jonesy's problem as well, with none of them knowing how to take care of these wacky kids. And now that the girls are mad at them, they don't even want to help, because it's like, clearly your guys, you won, you be able to handle this. And I love that, like, now they're screwed because of being sore losers. The kids even hit Halder with a hockey stick. Oh my gosh.
Masterson, why is there chocolate all over my office?
That's a really good question. Maybe your star MVP can answer that.
Jonesy, I need a word with you. Whoa there, little tight.
Jonesy ends up getting fired, of course, again, and Wyatt and Serena's argument just starts to boil up a lot more as the kids get involved. I feel like Wyatt just needs to tell her it bothers him because the fact that he keeps pushing this whole bandana situation aside, like he tries to get her a different gift, he tries to do a bunch of stuff, and it just comes across as like desperate, and the fact he can't communicate his needs is even more concerning because it's like, okay, you're not gonna work out if you go through this mentality, and the fact he's insecure about being a year younger is not going to help at all. So of course the girls take home the win this episode, yay for them, and by the end the boys just look worse, and yeah, that's kind of how this whole thing wraps up. Like, I don't even know what else to say. It was a fun episode though, having like all these stakes rise. I can't believe these guys juggle 3 plot lines simultaneously, like an A's plot, a B plot, a C plot, and then they all coincide together. Like, that's just good writing.
How can I get a better job?
Being positive helps. Like, think of the donut and not the hole.
I'll apply a gooey cream donut. That's much cooler than Wonder Taco.
Episode 19 of 16 Season 1 is called The Swami, and this one is actually so much more fun than I expected. We start off with Caitlin being overwhelmed at her lemon job, which, of course, it's been 19 episodes. How is she not getting better at this point? She just gets so frustrated until a handsome customer comes up, and then she's like, oh, maybe I will do my job now. Okay. I can't help but wonder if this is a parody of, like, Annie Ann's or one of those stores in the mall that, like, just do lemonade. I really like that they're, like, leaning onto that concept, because it actually allows the kids to get away with so many plots, considering like not a lot of people go to those on weekdays. Yeah, it's so cool the way the show is like leaning into the realism. So yeah, Caitlin has a crush on this guy and is so embarrassed because she does not know how to present herself in front of him.
So, about that smoothie?
You want to go for one? I'm supposed to be on for the next hour, but what the heck?
Actually, I meant the one I ordered.
Oh, right.
She's convinced that she needs, like, guru advice or, like, something astrology related, which I personally am always down for. So she goes to this event that Jonesy is actually in charge of hosting. There's this guy named the Swami, and he's a guru that gives you life advice, if we've ever seen that before. It's got, like, this scam culture riddled under it, so you're kind of skeptical of it throughout the whole time. Except for Caitlin, she's so optimistic that she's somebody who would believe all this. When the Swami doesn't show up, Jonesy's job is pretty much on the line, so he's like, how do I entertain these people? He ends up getting Jude, who already talks in metaphors. Perfect plot line. So he somehow finds enough clothes to put him in and set him on stage to actually give his advice to the masses, which everybody automatically realizes he is also the stick-it guy. Like, why would they follow his advice? I agree, like, it's crazy how he just tries to get away with saying all this stuff.
We're all actors. Some of us are like Keanu Reeves or Alicia Cuthbert.
Oh, yes! That sounds like me!
But the crowd ends up believing it by the end, especially Caitlin, which is so funny because she's already his friend. Like, she knows he's just spewing random lines. Like, why is she not falling for it? The advice he gives actually changes all these people's lives, like Coach Halder or the Taco Girl, and it's so funny the way it actually, like, changes the story completely. Nikki's the only one who, like, just doesn't believe this guy and is sticking to her guns.
And some of us are hairy, aggressive, physically unappealing people who will never be more than character actors.
Yes! It's like he knows me!
Caitlin ends up using his advice to ask out the guy she met earlier, and it works. I mean, it is just confidence. I don't know if he actually gave her advice, but she starts to rely on Jude's words. So now she's got a date, and she's super excited about it. She rubs off all this positive vibes on Wyatt, who suddenly believes he's able to climb a ladder that he's scared of climbing. And of course, this is what happens. Like, you take advice, and then you try to follow it blindly, but then you get stuck at the top of a ladder like Wyatt, and he's just screwed. For the rest of the episode, he's stuck up there, okay?
It's a good thing this isn't a TV show. Why? Because if it was, everything would go horribly wrong after the commercial break. Yeah, good thing.
Caitlin goes on this date, and she realizes that she's not much without Jude's knowledge, so it's kind of complicated. She doesn't know how to live without him.
Do you know what you want to eat?
Well, I was gonna order the burrito, but a wise man once told me that could be read as me being closed off to new ideas.
Okay, then.
What is your stinking order?
So Jude's already doing another show with Jonesy, and yeah, Caitlin just insists he leaves it to come give her advice on the date, which is crazy because I feel like how scammy the situation feels or not, you can't just stop a performance in the middle of it just to go to one girl's date. Like, I don't care how close Jude is with them, it just doesn't make sense. So this is the one time only I'm on Jonesy's side. How in the world are you gonna just take this performer?
Sorry, I had to make a phone call.
An emergency?
Well, you know what they say about emergencies.
Emergencies are like pantsuits. Nobody looks good in them.
They're like pantsuits. Nobody looks good in them.
Yeah, right.
This guy starts to see through Caitlin, making everything seem like a scam. Jude's advice is just not helpful and leads to more problems than it's worth. And yeah, the guy ends up giving her a second chance, so it kind of works out for her. But Wyatt's still stuck at the top of the ladder. Oh well.
We ate ladders like that for breakfast. I remember once we were trapped in a foxhole, and the enemy was throwing burning ladders at us, and all we could do was eat them. Our mouths were horribly burned.
So I don't want to hear, I can't come down from you, you little maggot. Ow!
So Nikki tries to bring Jude there to give him advice and get him down, and then everybody starts to see how big of a scam he is. It doesn't really get people out of problems, just throws them into more problems, which I would have immediately discredited if I saw this live performance. Like, you can't just walk away. I'm gonna let it go for now. We're gonna move on. But yeah, everybody sees Jude as a fraud, especially Wyatt and Caitlin, and they all decide to move on from the situation, which it kind of seems like a huge deal when you think about it. Like, how much money were they taking from these people, and how did they end up on top by the end?
Make like you're at a disco and get down tonight.
That is the stupidest advice I've ever heard.
Wait, don't go! He was only joking! The Swami has a great sense of humor!
But all around, it's just another Jonesy gone wrong episode. I'm really liking the pacing of these by this point, because it's like a lot of plots going on at once and then all conclude by the end. Like, that's such a good idea. So yeah, that was the Swami, and it definitely hits like more relevant topics, especially till this day, like astrology, mind readers, dog whisperers. Like, there's so many people claiming that they could kind of predict the future without necessarily having a lot of information to back it up. I do personally like astrology a lot, so I'm not gonna doubt it, but it is funny to watch people take general advice and completely take it out of context to their own confidence. And like, I don't know, like sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. It doesn't necessarily have to do with these foreshadowed circumstances.
All right, miss. What's the problem here?
Nothing.
Nothing, eh? That's your story?
Yes. Here's your free taco, sir.
So episode 20 is called Cecil B. Delusioned. And yeah, at first I was like, what the heck is this episode title? But then I learned it's actually the Hollywood director Cecil B. DeMille, who was known for directing like large movies. And yeah, that explains why, because this whole episode is just that in a nutshell. So this reporter shows up at the mall with a camera guy, and she's doing a news story about this mall. Of course, the teens are interested because when you're shooting something in public, you gotta draw attention to yourself, right?
And clear. You nailed that.
Yeah, get me a coffee, would ya?
Yes, ma'am.
With soy milk. No dairy, it makes me bloated.
Right.
Let's get out of here. Meet me at the truck.
So this camera guy ends up giving Jonesy the camera, essentially unspokenly hiring him to get shots of the mall, which you did not expect coming. It ends up being this like multiple like parodies of TV shows as he takes the camera and starts shooting his friends. Everybody else is like, what the heck is going on? But like even Jude gets some camera time when he sets fire to the Stick-It station.
Okay, let's kick it up a notch.
Whoa! Fire! Dude! Fire!
Whoa! Whoa! Quick! Move to the side! You're wrecking the shot!
Ah!
Fire! Dude!
Dude, the fire is spreading!
I know! This is great TV!
It just shows how good he is at his job. And spoiler alert, it's not that great. The B-plot is the most ridiculous I think I've seen so far. Not because it's bad, just because it's like kind of boring. It's basically Wyatt is failing a class, and when we learn what it is, it turns out to be gym, and it feels like it's gonna be a big reveal, but no, it's not. That's just a ridiculous plot line. So Jen is convinced that she could teach him how to be physically fit. Of course, out of all people, Jen is perfect for that. She works at the sports store. So she starts taking Wyatt out and testing a bunch of different sports with him to see if he could kind of pick up on something. But of course, we know Wyatt, and he is horrible at it. He does not know how to throw a ball, and suddenly it starts to make sense why he's failing gym. Meanwhile, Jonesy has become this whole production company trying to do a bunch of different reality or like parody TV shows. Of course, Caitlin wants to be involved, so she tries to get this like journalistic dress, which Jonesy is not having. So they try a bunch of different genres of TV shows, and this is where we get some really good comedy.
Stop, you scumbag! You think you can take this mall and turn it into your own private garbage dump? Not on my watch, soldier.
He's reaching for his medication!
Get down!
They finally decide that they're going to do a prank show to, you know, commit to the rest of the episode, and all the friends realize that Nikki is the most interesting one on camera, so they're gonna make this about her. Okay, so all the friends kind of scheme behind her back, which seems kind of shady to me, like, this is your friend and you're just gonna act like this, and they plan to basically take Nikki out trying on bathing suits only to embarrass her. So Caitlin has to bring in her acting chops and convince her that this is a real situation. Meanwhile, Jude and Jonesy are finding different different ways to record this privately. And it's so funny how committed they get to this entire process. They even go to Darth for this secret webcam in like a snake drain, which, why do you have that, Darth? And yeah, that's just a lot of questions I have for him, but I don't know if I want to get to know this character any more than I already do.
Let me see. This is great for peering around corners and sneaking up on people without being noticed. According to the brochure.
So yeah, they go through with this whole prank. Caitlin takes Nikki to the hair salon, basically gives her all these scenarios that she's not going to be comfortable with just to get the funniest outcome. And of course, it gets awkwarder and awkwarder, if those are words. They kind of sound weird coming off the tongue. But even Jen gets in on this from a distance, despite the fact she's still trying to teach Wyatt how to be sporty. Not working at all. Once they get Nikki into this bikini that she really doesn't like, which, by the way, I don't know why Jonesy is spearheading this. I thought he had a crush on Nikki, but this is definitely a betrayal of some sort. Like, this is embarrassing and she doesn't like this, but everybody's convinced that by the time they're done filming, she will have liked it, and yeah, that's just not working out.
Well, what do you think? Excuse me, you're blinding everyone in the store with your whiteness. Ah! That's it.
Jonesy gets caught, and it should be like an illegal thing because, like, why is he recording her while she's getting changed? Like, that is horrible to think about. And yeah, they fall through the roof, making Nikki aggressive, throwing hangers at them. And of course, I would feel betrayed if I were her too. Like, this is ridiculously crossing a line. Even before the age of social media, this is too much.
Don't panic! Keep breathing! How did you ever get such a small size on?
Do you want to die in a change room?
By the end, everybody's just kind of apologizing to her, and there's not really a resolution until you notice there's this, like, gel on Jonesy's arm, and it turns out to be another prank set up to retaliate against him. And it's like, the episode's just over after this, but it is funny that it ends on a karmic note with Jonesy actually being embarrassed himself. I like that this whole thing is more parodying different kinds of TV shows you would watch and showing, like, a prank show that goes wrong. Like, that is funny. And the fact that it really interferes with all 6 of their friendships, yeah, that's the kind of episode I want. Of course, by the end, Wyatt ends up not failing gym class, which is really awesome. At least Jen got him through that from a distance. Interesting episode all around. I get why they call it delusional again, because it's just all of them turning on Nikki, which, by the way, this is not fair. I am team Nikki after this episode because everybody else is clearly crossing a line. She is like the morally most sane one out of all of them.
Cake! 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 Cake!
Cake, 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 cake. Cool, bring it on. Cake, cake, cake.
The next one is finally the one I think has gone way too far. It's episode 21, The Birthday Boy, and this one is a Wyatt episode. I've never seen the characters do something so selfish and just downright ignorant to another character in this show up until this point. Like, this is definitely the straw that breaks the camel's back, and you'll see it in a minute. So Wyatt doesn't like celebrating his birthday, a plot that I've seen so many times done before. He's just so embarrassed all the time, and he wears the hat from SpongeBob. You know, like the 2 straws going into the sodas, like it's just embarrassing. And Wyatt is tired of celebrating with his family. So yeah, everybody in the group is trying to get him up on his spirits. Like, hey, like, get excited about your birthday, hyping him up to actually like have a positive experience, which is coming from a pretty genuine place. Now remember that, because it does not stay that positive for very much longer. Jen, Caitlin, Nikki, and all the friends decide like, hey, we're gonna do something to celebrate Wyatt tonight, which is really sweet. Like, they're actually trying to get him out of his funk. And despite the fact he's kind of feeling negative about it, he ends up agreeing to it. So he's gone for most of the episode while these guys get ready on this plot. But you know what? They get distracted pretty quickly when Jude has this simulation game on his computer, which is a lot referencing The Sims. You know, like how you could have characters that you know and like, and then they'll fight with each other, interact. It's actually really a fun thing we did in the 2000s. It also goes till this day. I've been playing a lot of Tamagotchi Life, and that's been fun too. It's exactly like what they're doing. They basically get so distracted with the simulated world that they forget what's actually going on around them. It starts out with Jude being into the idea, then he gets Jen into it, finally Caitlin, and somehow everybody is enthralled in the simulated world. Probably because you can't control what happens in the real world, so you want to go to a simulated world. It's actually a really dark episode. No, I'm just kidding. The B-plot finally brings us back to the Jonesy and Nikki storyline, the romantic stuff that's been going on. So Jonesy needs to study for this test and needs Nikki to help him because she's smarter than him. And of course, this has to be a plot 2 times in a row. We just did the Wyatt episode. Now it's a Jonesy episode with just the girls teaching them. Like, I don't understand why it has to keep doing this.
Ugh, like you mean it.
Okay, you're smarter than me. You are. Nikki's smarter than me.
That's better.
But this one actually has a little bit of an ulterior motive. So Jonesy doesn't really want to study. I think he just wants to get closer to her. So while everybody's getting into this whole online simulation thing, Jonesy is trying to pick at Nikki and see why they actually haven't been going out since they did last time. Nikki does a good job at like avoiding the subject, tries to bring him back to studying, and it starts to feel like a tutor and student relationship, which is starting to bother me. But you know, they're 16-year-olds. Of course they're gonna act like this. Later, the mall starts closing and it becomes closer to the time that they said they would celebrate Wyatt for his birthday, only for everybody to realize that they were all distracted with their own separate things that they forgot to plan anything. So yeah, now the mall is closing and nobody can get anywhere in time. Even Jen missed at getting them a simple card. So they're screwed, and it's kind of annoying because they were the ones that wanted to set this all up with Wyatt, so why are they just completely dropping it until last minute? And this is when I said that they did like the most horrible thing I've probably seen in this show. So they find out that there's a party being thrown at Abercrombie and Fitch. Oh my god, I still can't pronounce it. They're like, let's just say that party is Wyatt's party. Okay. When they get there, they see that it's actually a bridal party, not just like a normal fun party. And this is going to be so much harder to disguise, but they're all determined to make this happen. Oh my gosh, guys. So yeah, while there's a bunch of models and girls there, they cannot get anybody to play along with their whole deal, which is not surprising. It sucks for all of them when Wyatt shows up and is super flattered and is like, wow, this is gonna be the best birthday I've ever had. And of course, they're like needing to double down on making this look realistic by getting people to go up and talk to him. And
Thank you so much for being here. Wouldn't miss it for the world, man. Something like this only happens once in your life, if you're lucky.
somehow this actually works, and Wyatt is convinced this is for him, so much so that he steps on stage to have a speech, essentially ruining whoever the bride actually is' party. And yeah, it's just super embarrassing. I would be so uncomfortable if I were Wyatt, especially after all the things they went through. Like, Jonesy tries to disguise the cake. They try to come up with an excuse for why they're giving Wyatt underwear for his birthday. Of course, I don't know why he doesn't pick up on this. So yeah, the bride ends up crying, and he is so embarrassed, and the friends only exit. Yeah, they don't even, like, try to, like, cover it up or apologize. They just run away. And that's the part that really aggravates me. Like, if you guys are friends, you don't just run away from each other, especially after a monumental lie like that. Like, even in the other episodes where they lied, they would usually come clean, or at least not ditch their friend at the party. Like, come on, guys. But whatever, you're 16. I guess this is a part of growing up somehow. So yeah, Wyatt ends up forgiving them because it's actually a really thoughtful gesture, which I don't agree with Wyatt. I think you could give him a little more slack for this whole situation. Jonesy ends up bringing the cake, and everybody celebrates by the end with the simulation game one more time. Of course, they just have to play one more round of it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to confiscate the game now. Guys?
No way! Dudes! Wait! Stop! My baby! Dude! Hey!
But yeah, the birthday boy episode is definitely gone too far for me. I can't believe they tried to show all of this in one episode. I don't remember this one at all, and it is going way too far.
Who are you? Dragon Thunder!
This next episode is probably my favorite because I've never seen this done on a TV show, literally ever, let alone a teen TV show. So like, the fact that they did this plotline so impressively is why I'm gonna give this show much more credit than you would ever give another TV show. Like, let's jump into it. It's called Enter the Dragon, episode 22. So there's this band named Dragon Thunder that's having a concert at the mall that all the teens want to go to. So it's all 6 of them. The girls ended up standing in line and getting them the tickets, which is kind of stupid that they didn't do any work for it. Okay. Jonesy, Wyatt, and Jude are celebrating by reenacting the trailer. Of course, Canadians love TV shows the same way we do, which is actually really fun.
In a world where right is wrong and might is king, 5 rebel warriors hold the key to salvation.
But Nikki Caitlyn and Jen are acting really weird. Like, Jen is depressed, Caitlyn's moody, and Nikki is just emotional, which is so different than their normal character attributes. Why are they acting this way? And this actually starts to interfere with the fact they're going to the concert that night. Like, they're either gonna make it a bad time or just ditch them all together. So, like, is this gonna affect their experience?
That's something I wanted to bring up. How come none of you respect my work ethic?
Your work ethic? Okay, stop. You're killing me.
Is that what you want? Because I can arrange that.
Meanwhile, each of the individual girls finds troubles at their job because of these heightened states of emotion, and it starts to affect them constantly. Jonesy's trying a new job at the sushi place, which doesn't really feel like it has to do with the plot, and it's just kind of funny that, like, he's just trying to learn how to work there before he's going to this whole event. It doesn't really have to do with the concert subplot, but we have Jude and Wyatt attempting to cheer the girls up and actually figure out what's going on, which is very sweet. I can't believe Jonesy is opting out of, like, doing the thoughtful stuff. Wyatt gives Nikki some chocolate at her job, which she finds really sweet, and Jude just is there for Caitlyn, which I like that this actually helps all the friendships. We learn while they're in the penalty box that Jen, Caitlyn, and Nikki all have their periods. Aw. So this is, like, where the plots are really interesting, because this has never been talked about so openly on a kid's show. Like, the cycles, the time of the month, and the fact that theirs are all syncing up could be positive because it means they're all really close friends, but bothers them too because it means they're all in a state of irritability. But discovering this actually kind of gives them clarity and, like, a lot more positivity, which helps them, like, overcome the pain, which is so funny because it's like, of course you would bond over something traumatic like that. Like, I totally get that. Later, the boys are just worried this is gonna affect their concert going experiences, while the girls kind of team up and try to get through this complicated day by themselves. And the boys are trying to use the skills Jonesy learns at his sushi job to try to take on the girls and help them through their problems, which is so funny to think that they can actually have an effect on them, all with karate moves. Like, what in the world would that do?
This is so cool.
Not as cool, bro. Today, you battle the dragon.
And her name is Caitlyn.
Yeah!
Later, when they confront the girls about this, we all learn that this is because it's the time of the month, and it starts to become clear with the guys. And this sexism really plays a good part in this because, of course, the guys are ignorant to the girls' issues, and they don't really want to learn about it, so they avoid it. They try to do whatever they can to solve the problem without knowing the problem, which is probably why they're doing all this actual combat-related things. I like that the concert they're trying to see has to do with, like, the themes of the sushi restaurant, because that kind of ties it all together thematically, and I love that. It all ties together pretty quickly when the guys realize they have nothing to be concerned about because their tickets aren't actually at risk because the girls are on their periods. It turns out they gave Jude the tickets at the beginning of the day, so now they're just acting like fools for no actual reason. They don't need to get the tickets, they don't need to be, like, a certain way, so it's just all around, like, a confusing time. But the point is, this episode is so good at talking about something they could probably never put in another cartoon ever. I really want to see more stuff like this in future teen TV shows, because we could actually normalize the fact that girls get their periods, and it becomes, like, a topic of conversation throughout everybody's lives, like the boys that are experiencing it with them, the girls and what they're going through. Like, it's so cool to know that the more information everybody has about the situation, the more they open up about it, the more the boys listen about it. Like, this is a really universal topic that we can actually tackle, and I hope there's more episodes like this in the future.
What are you doing with that hot water bottle?
It's for cramps. Female cramps?
Right. Well, keep it up. Very nice. Good. I'm off to go over there.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, this is one thing that 16 does very uniquely in comparison to any other show. Like, even the other Canadian shows I've seen don't touch these topics so well. But yeah, that's just another kudos to this show.
Aw, look at them. No one escapes the dreaded midterms.
Ooh, that's gonna leave a mark.
This next one is the most school-related one I've seen. It's called One Quiet Day, and basically has the teens getting ready for finals. And everybody at the mall just happens to be a teen and also getting ready for finals because the makeout couple is even doing it in this first scene. Like, oh my gosh. That's kind of funny, though. Jude keeps finding every excuse to dodge this study group that Jen is trying to curate. And yeah, Jen just has to be the controlling one and make sure everybody's doing everything a certain way, when really nobody wants to study and she's the only one getting people to do this, which honestly, that's props for Jen because these guys would fail without her. Somehow they managed to fit in more than a few plot lines, like Caitlin has a crush on this guy and is worried she comes across as a stalker because she accidentally drove by his house too many times and put a note in his mailbox, which, okay, fair enough. I would be differently weary around that.
But I've heard worse.
It gets worse. This neighbor saw me and thought I was like a robber or something, so they called the police and I have a mugshot!
Don't laugh, guys. It's not funny.
You're right.
No, you're wrong.
It's pretty funny.
So the teens start getting bothered by the fact that Jude keeps finding excuses to get out of the study group, or that he might be with another study group, and it actually makes them all a little bit jealous, which is kind of funny. Then they find him outside the movie theater, seeing that he's just playing hooky. Turns out he's actually failing all of his classes. Oh my god, Jude, what the heck?
So then what are you doing at the movies?
I figured if I'm gonna fail anyway, I might as well have fun doing it.
Can't argue with that logic.
And so basically the friends give him a little pep talk, say that they need him to graduate with them, which totally fair. I think that's a really sweet reason. And they're all going to one by one help him study. Meanwhile, another plot breaks out, which is the actual title of the episode, where everybody bets Jen can't get involved in their study habits and or just their lives in general. Apparently, she just can't not give advice.
Oh, yeah? Well, stay tuned because you all suck!
Okay, if you're right, prove it.
So they're gonna bet $5 that if Jen cannot give advice for the rest of the day, they'll win. And it's so funny, you don't realize how often Jen tries to give advice until you see this scene, and then it's like pretty clear. Next thing you know, they keep purposely trying to tempt her in between their study breaks. So it's not really about studying anymore, except for the Jude plotline. Everybody starts teaching Jude. Caitlin purposely walks out of the stall with her underwear hanging out for some reason, just to get Jen to like get her to say something, which would count as losing the competition, which is kind of crazy when you think about it.
That's what I thought too.
Caitlin, you're...
Huh? Did you say something? Okay, bye. Wish me luck.
Oh my god, Jonesy is staring at a woman's butt and gets caught immediately. I don't know how this guy is one of the tutors. Like, why do they trust him with anything at this point? So yeah, Jude just keeps avoiding and jumping away from any opportunity to learn, which kind of makes a lot of sense. And everybody else keeps tempting Jen, which I feel like we're on the border of forgetting about any of the tutoring or study group related stuff. After a while, Jen gets really fed up and the boys try to tempt her with getting a tattoo of all things. And yeah, they're just taking this way too far, only to get Jen to finally speak up, which just shows how nice of a friend she is, honestly. Like, she just fully goes all out and tells them how she honestly feels about their decisions, and...
This guy has way too much makeup on, and I don't care what your psychic partner thinks, he's not the one. Naked skydiving? Are you insane?
Yeah, honestly, she's helping them dodge a bullet, and I don't know why they would get tattoos anyway, all to walk out with $5. Kind of a weird hill to die on, but okay. Caitlin never gets over the stalker thing. The mall cop is just like, you better stay away from that guy, and it's like, oh my gosh, poor Caitlin. Jude ends up on a really positive note, even goes skydiving? What is this guy's deal? Yeah, all around a very positive episode for everyone.
What's that stuff all over your face?
Those two covered my walkie with shoe polish. When I get through with them, they'll wish they were never born. Ow! What was that?
The next episode we have is called It's Always Courtney, Courtney, Courtney. And of course, another Jen-related episode. And this is such a common 2000s trope where the sister character comes to visit the main girl and just happens to be more attractive, prettier, and Jen just wants to upstage her and prove that she's not all that in a can of beans, if that's the phrase. I don't know, if I didn't read the Bible lately. So everybody's getting ready for Jen's sister to come, and apparently all the boys have had a crush on her because she's been their babysitter at one point, which means this is kind of a close-knit group, more than I thought. I guess they're all like childhood friends too. Yeah, there's a lot of lore going back, but it's very sweet. So Caitlin tries to comfort Jen, and everybody else is like, don't worry, like, we always like you better than your sister. And that's like a problem she's always had, until the sister actually arrives, and of course everybody has a crush on her. They all stand like in a pyramid next to her, which is kind of crazy. I don't know why I just can't get that visual image out of my head. One by one they're trying to discredit her and like find a reason to like like Jen more, but it's hard because Jen's a little micromanagey of a person, and her sister is a lot more like them, which makes a lot of sense. So the sister starts one by one wooing each of the friends over, kind of making them her friends, and you seem to think that she's definitely up to something weird. Jonesy, meanwhile, has a stalker. Oh my gosh. So this redhead girl keeps following them around, and she just doesn't get the hint that he broke up with her a while ago, and it's kind of freaky. This is almost like Attack of the Redheads, because every girl with a problem in this episode has red hair, and I don't mean to point that out, it just is a fact.
Lydia, hi, how are you?
I'm great. I just wish I could see you right now.
I wish I could see you too.
Your wish is my command.
Huh?
Hi!
Lydia, nice to see you.
Courtney starts connecting with Caitlin over shopping, and then Nikki over her job and how she's not good at it, which is actually so funny. I completely believe that Courtney used to work at the Khaki Barn. What a convenient plot point. Suddenly Jen was right, and Courtney has made friends with all the friends except for her. Later, she even talks them into getting fake IDs and going with her to a party at the mall after hours. Oh my god, how does she have the resources for this? So she gets a camera, takes everybody's pictures like literally professionally, gives them fake IDs, and yeah, it's so crazy that cartoon teen show is covering fake IDs. Like, out of all things that you have to learn about when you're that age, like, it's so funny that this is brought into the picture. I never personally ever got a fake ID or knew anybody who did, but you know, that was definitely a thing for some of my other friends, and it's crazy to think about, honestly. It kind of paints this like irresponsible picture of Courtney, but you know, all the group thinks she's just really cool, and they get into an awesome club. Okay, great. But the mall cop is on their tail and knows that they are not old enough. Even Darth gets kicked out of the venue before they start partying. Jen tries to prove a point that looks are everything, I guess, and comes in dressed up just as good as Courtney is. And yeah, she's there to have a good time and win her own friends back, but then her top comes off and it's really embarrassing. Oh my god, this is so inappropriate for a kid's show. Like, these are literal children. Oh my god. But yeah, it's a cartoon, so I'm not gonna go too heavy into it. Courtney doesn't even bail them out when the rent-a-cop takes them. She's just like, no, I'm not with them, and it's like really disrespectful. That's when Jen kind of pulls her aside and acts like the parent, and it's clear like why she acts this way in general. She always has to be the more mature one, but it does make sense because Courtney does have to take the responsibility sometimes. It makes sense that they're opposites, but of course they have to do that. So Courtney ends up being the one to help them all break out of the mall jail, which I'm so excited we finally get to see. Mall cop finally gets a platform to show his identity. So funny.
You're all mine, and I'm going to savor them, like the smell of a jungle foxhole at dawn. Jungly and foxy, with a touch of whole.
And yeah, they end up showing him an inappropriate picture of the mall cop, and that lets him free. What a crazy ending to an episode. So yeah, the generic plot line, but done in an extremely crazy way. I was not expecting full-on nudity, a stalker, or anything else to get that far, but yeah, 16 just loves to surprise us, doesn't it? At the very end, it gets really important because the only way they get off the stalker's back is if Nikki pretends to be dating Jonesy, which isn't a full episode plot, which I'm confused about. Yeah, like they just end up kissing, and wow, they just keep pushing these guys together inch by inch, and it's pretty rewarding doing it so slowly, and definitely makes it like a realistic vibe. So yeah, that was the Courtney episode.
This is our first homecoming dance.
We've been saving our paychecks for a month.
It's a major milestone in a girl's life.
Is this major for dudes too?
No.
Cool.
The next episode is episode 25, the one with the text message, and we're getting to the tail end of season 1 here, with only one more episode after this, and like a special that I don't think I'm going to get into in this video, but this one is them all getting ready for the school dance, which actually is a big deal for the girls, and the guys could care less, of course. That's the dynamic I was kind of expecting. So this whole episode is about Jen and Caitlin trying to find the perfect dress. They both have their eyes on this gold dress at the Khaki Barn, so of course that's like a big plot point for them. Wyatt wants to give this gold chain necklace to Serena, this girl he's been dating for like very few episodes at this point. Like, we barely see her, but you do feel bad for Wyatt because he clearly cares about her a lot. She seems to be really uncomfortable with all his abrupt advances as a boyfriend, like he's trying to jump the maturity route, and yeah, I don't know. After that bandana incident where he was getting insecure about it, I feel like it's clear that they're not mature enough to be together. She wants to be with this other worker, Chad, which is complicated because because they all work together. What in the world? Jonesy starts working at Campbell's, but they don't call it Campbell's. They just call it soup. But tell me that's not Campbell's. It's designed like either Campbell's or a Pokeball, so it's gotta be one of the two. After Jen and Caitlin start arguing over the dress, it becomes personal because Jen just decides she's going to go with it. Oh my gosh.
Okay, calm down. It's not really your dress, Caitlin. I am calm, and yes, it is, dress dealer! I don't see your name on it.
But I saw it first. That's like totally against girl rules.
The I saw it first rule doesn't count if you can't buy it. Right, Nikki? Oh no, I'm not getting dragged into this.
Meanwhile, Wyatt gets a text from Serena breaking up with him. Ooh. See, this is always a stressful plotline in an episode because it is kind of a real thing that happened. Like, when technology was new and you got the opportunity to break bad news over text message, yeah, like, that was a big deal at the time. And I'm not one for one thing or the other. I do get the fact that it's easy to break up with somebody over text. I'd rather somebody break up with me over text than pretend to be into me long enough for them to get up the courage to break up with me. Like, I don't know, it's different for everybody, so that's kind of a complicated thing. But yeah, of course, all the girls feel bad, and everybody starts to help him get through the breakup, which I always like. I love plot lines that involve friends helping one sad friend get over their depression. Like, I don't know why, it's just such a cool plot. Wyatt even talks to Serena, learns that it's because of a maturity thing, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is so negative. Nikki's parents are in town, and this only comes up for a little bit while Jude is distracting them, but I can't believe how many plots they fit into a single episode. Everybody's just trying to help Wyatt get over this girl, and everybody's getting ready for the dance, and it's definitely like a sweet episode. Nikki ends up standing up for Wyatt, saying that Serena made a bad decision, and that's also really sweet. I feel like he gets closure from talking to her, and even though he's sad, he's gonna get over it, because he's actually realizing that when he's mature, she won't be ready, and which is a very positive outlook on a age gap relationship, I guess. Like, that kind of thing is very stressful, especially when you're the younger person trying to fit in with the older one, so at least he got to get out of it this way. Jen and Caitlin kind of get over this whole dress situation when all the girls from the Khaki Barn get that exact dress, which, yeah, that's definitely a major turn off for something to look unique. So yeah, they just give up on the argument, they realize it's too petty, and yeah, Nikki and Jonesy end up going on a little secret date by the end of it, but Nikki's parents inevitably find her, also disguised, and it's just so awkward to think that all of them are trying to not be seen. Like, I can't believe this is a plot line. I feel bad for Jude though, because I feel like he's the only one on lookout for Nikki's parents, and of course that just has to be his problem for her. Caitlin accidentally feeds Jen mushroom pizza, which she has a problem with in her stomach, and I can't believe she used this against her. This is like crossing a line for me. Like, she only makes up for it because she like watches her while she's in the bathroom stall later in the episode, but it is crazy to think that like this was even intentional on Caitlin's part. Guys, this is not a friendship in this moment. We don't really revisit the dance plot by the end of the episode. If anything, it just ends on the Nikki's parents plot line, which confuses me, but oh well. At least it set up all the stakes and then the plot went through, whatever.
Oh, come on, it can't be that bad.
Oh, really?
Okay, that's really bad, dude.
I know!
Next, we have the season finale, which is actually a Halloween episode, and if you could name any shows that had a season finale that was a Halloween episode, you could definitely comment below, because I am so curious. It's called Boo Dude. Kind of sounds like Jude would be saying it, but yeah. The gang's gathered at the big squeeze on Halloween, and Jonesy talks about him getting a job at this costume shop, so he can get everybody costumes for free. Caitlin's gonna go to this monster movie marathon, but Nikki doesn't want to even dress up at work. She does not want to celebrate it, since the clones already kind of planned to do something with that anyway. Jen's forced to dress up as a pig by Coach Holder, who actually is super obsessed with Halloween, and I'm surprised this guy has a character trait like that. Like, this is the first time I feel like he's involved in a major storyline with the show. Like, he's always just been this grumpy boss.
Yes! I love it when they drop like that! Gosh, Halloween is fun! Yeah!
Jonesy tells Caitlin that every year the guys get together and try to prank Ron the Rent-A-Cop, and they never are successful, but this time Ron is actually keeping an eye on them, so they're like definitely under the radar. The boys have a book of great pranks, which is so funny because, like, why would that be the whole difference in them pulling this off? Jude calls the khaki barn at Nikki's insistence and performs a prank on her co-workers. Even with the book, the guys are having a hard time coming up with, like, something unexpected or impressive, so Caitlin comes up with the idea with slipping the security tag into Ron's pocket so he'll set off the alarms all over the mall. Oh my gosh. So Caitlin wants Jonesy because she wants a guy's frame of mind, and this guy she's been on a date with, Talon, hasn't kissed her. She wants to know what's going on, and Jonesy's just like, well, just wait till he looks at your mouth and then kiss him, which is like so crazy because she has like a piece of spinach in her teeth and he doesn't want to kiss her, so he's looking at her mouth anyway, and then it's like this really, really awkward moment for both of them. So Jude distracts the rent-a-cop while Jonesy slips the tag into his back pocket, and Coach Halder confronts him basically with a giant chainsaw, which is freaking scary if you ask me, and he gets a ticket for improper use of gardening equipment, which I think you just get a charge for weaponry, honestly. So they need to do a new prank, and this is when things get way out of line. So Jen enlists Coach Holder to be one of the scarers, and the boys set up the bathroom like juice crystals with fake blood, buttering the toilet seats, and instead of Ron the rent-a-cop being caught in this whole prank, of course Caitlin happens to be stuck. Oh no. So yeah, Ron was one step ahead this whole time by using the bathroom in the khaki barn. The next day, Ron comes by and gives all the tickets to the guys before heading to his office, and yeah, the failure of the Halloween prank is kind of sad, but then they set up a chocolate cupcake on the chair for him to sit on it, and he spends the rest of the day walking around with a giant brown stain on his pants. Whew, real mature, guys. That was kind of unnecessary, but it is fun to get like a Halloween episode. I love that there's like a reason to get Coach Holder involved, Jen's boss, out of anybody. Like, he's just so gung-ho about the Halloween spirit that you do not expect him to be this intense. I forgot to mention, of course, the subplot with Jen is all about trying to wear this ugly costume and Coach Halder putting her way into Halloween. Of course, she doesn't even want to do any of this. She doesn't want to scare people. She doesn't want to get in the Halloween spirit. But the fact that, like, she ends up working with him by the end of the episode is even funnier. All around good season. I feel like they covered a lot of really complicated topics, whether it was just the teens taking an extra step, defied the mall rules, or like turn against Ron the rent-a-cop. Even Nikki and Jonesy developing a relationship pretty quietly throughout every other episode was actually really impressive. I feel like the character development is what really keeps me involved in this show, and the individual plots are just as funny too, with like literally 3 to 4 per episode. Like, they really give every character something to deal with at this point, and I am so surprised this goes on for like 78 episodes, because already at episode 26 I'm like, did they not do everything they wanted to do? But yeah, I'm excited to dive into more. I can't wait to see what you guys think of the further episodes. Which ones are you looking forward to me covering? Like, what seasons are your favorite? I'm just so excited to keep doing this. Don't forget to subscribe to Johnny Toons, my new cartoon channel that focuses on season retrospectives of cartoons. And if you like any of these, you could definitely check out my main channel, Johnny 2000, which I'm just going over seasons of teen shows that I really liked growing up. It's all like nostalgia based for the 2000s, and I really hope you guys take the time to like, share, hype. Like, it all goes a long way with me, and I've been doing this for like a year and a half now, so it'd be really awesome if you guys can help me reach my goals of like 50,000 subscribers by the end of next year. Yeah, this is all such a fun journey, and I'm so grateful to have you guys with me. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.